And welcome back to the Sleeping Grush podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm still John.
Are we still looking for
We're waiting for the intro. We'll talk about the outro later, but we're waiting for the intro.
Okay, well,
we'll explain that later.
Folks, welcome to episode 10. Wow. You've put up with us for 10 episodes, so that's celebrating you because, we're just enjoying ourselves here. And thank you for listening in and keeping encouragement up and questions and all of those things that are going to make this possible. And we encourage you to keep doing that. We are brought to you by Cardboard Corner Cafe, as normal, here in the heart of Overland Park and soon to be Lenexa.
Right, two locations.
So if you're in Kansas City and would like a place to stop and game, they are fantastic. All right. So we've been off for a couple of weeks of winter weather. It's been rather snowy, not just here, but all over the U.S., or freezing cold, or a combination of both.
Less than freezing cold.
Yeah. So we've been off, but we are back now for episode 10, and we're going to lead with a really cool event we've got coming up this coming weekend in Las Vegas.
The Las Vegas Open. That's right. Yeah. So we went several years ago.
I remember.
We put some demos on. And, sometimes we do these things and it doesn't stick. We go someplace and you get a little bit of interest, but it doesn't take off. And people are not to be bad-mouthed over their poor gaming life choices. There's a lot of games out there and they're all good. You can't fault anybody for that. Ish, right? Adjacent. So we have an opportunity because the Las Vegas Open, for those who might not know, is a primarily Games Workshop event. That's where its history is. When we were there last, 400 40K tables.
That's a lot of 40K tables.
Yeah, we're nibbling on the elephant here. But we're one bite at a time.
You know what? They are looking in their rear view and seeing.
They are. See DGS screaming up in a VW bug. But anyway, so it's a big event. And they are trying to broaden into other miniatures games, right? And making that same transition as Adepticon. Adepticon's fully there.
Right.
Right. LVO, not so much. Nova, not so much. But they're working on it, right? So we're here to help.
We're going to help them.
So the trick is something outside the, this is, just business.
Sure.
Something outside the 8-hour driving circle, 8 to 10-hour driving circle, you'd have to ship your booth product or, a couple day driving time. But if you have a retail partner, then you can put on all the games and demos you want, and you can send interested players to a place where they can buy the models and the other accessories that we need to play Freeblades and Bright Sword and all the other games and counters. So we have that partner, Griffin's Lair. And Griffin's Lair is going to be already sells our product, already a very active community out in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But they are a vendor at LVO, and Steve and the crew are helping us by being our, retail space without us having to run a booth.
Which is so helpful.
Yeah. So Julie and I are going out doing our classic thing. She's going to run the booth demo at the Griffin's Lair booth, and I'm going to have a space in the vendor marketplace, it's called.
The vendor marketplace.
Yep,
so that's
awesome.
upscale.
It is upscale.
Gentrified.
And I'll be giving full game demos.
Awesome.
And obviously, because of time, she generally is way busier, than I am.
Sure.
She'll crank them out. People come out 15 minutes, get their demo. And some of those folks get interested enough, go, "Ooh, I'd like to try this, and I'd like a full game." Or someone has more time, sees us at the booth, or walks by the table where I'm putting games on and joins us.
Right.
And so they'll get a game of Freeblades. So we don't have an established playership there. So it's just demos. We don't have event games or participation games. Of course, that we want that to change.
Absolutely.
And the best would be if one of these fine people we meet this weekend become a quester.
That is what happened. Situation.
For example, at Miso's, what happened at Griffin's Lair originally, what happened at some of these places. An active player takes on being one of our ambassadors, and the community grows that way. Because we cannot just keep returning to the same place. There aren't as many of us as that would take.
Right.
So we're really looking to meet the right crew, to ignite a interest in the game that stays after we go.
And it would be great to have a community planted there, Las Vegas, or
just in that part of the world, just to help take care of anybody else out there who wants to play a game. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Awesome. Well, good luck this weekend. That's going to be an incredible event.
Sir,
A lot of folks
don't hate going to Vegas. So,
right.
I'm not a gambler, but I do appreciate America's Playground. So,
Well, let's talk about another big event that we have coming up. The big one for the first quarter, Adepticon.
Adepticon.
Yeah. So Adepticon is going to be, well, let's just talk about the fact that it's going to be the biggest event that we've put on as a company so far, I think.
Yes, in terms of numbers of events,
Numbers of
seats.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So
it will be.
let's just talk a little bit about how we started out at Adepticon and
Oh,
kind of where we've come from.
oh my gosh! There's photographs still, and we want to when we get to you and I have committed to getting into World Anvil and making it better, right? And there's a place in there for the history of DGS, the history of Phelan, the history of the company. Yeah, I've been gathering, ancient texts for that effort and imagery of the past. And when we first started, we were already going to Adepticon as gamers,
right?
And the leadership of Adepticon and our game group are all friends, back and forth in that network of people. So we were going out to play other games. And then when we formed DGS, it was obviously going to be a convention that we were interested in being in.
Sure.
But back in the day, let's see, we're in the Renaissance Schaumburg now. We were in the Westin. And there wasn't a lot of space in the vendor hall. So Hank gave us a table out in the hallway. And we didn't get charged for it, which of course eventually had to change.
Well, sure.
but we took it as long as it was offered.
Absolutely.
And what was cool about that is the hall never closed. So the hallway never closed. So vendor hall would close at 6 or whatever time it closes. Then we'd be the only game in town, the only place to buy miniatures, especially as alcohol is imbibed, the judgment drops, right?
One of the great things about
inhibitions, not judgment, inhibitions about what to do with your cash, right? Including one famous night where the vendor hall closed, but the adjacent ballroom to the hall that we were in was a wedding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we had people like going across the hall to the ladies and men's room from the reception, music, dancing,
right.
You could picture it, right?
Yeah.
Nice hotel ballroom wedding, people going back, all very happy. Whether induced or otherwise,
only slightly,
whether enabled or otherwise. So these people come out. Oh, what do you guys do? Oh, what's this? And they're all nicely dressed. They're bridesmaids or groomsmen. Whatever. And we didn't get. Miniatures company, it's a game convention going on. And eventually, the bridesmaids and groomsmen brought the bride and groom out, and we gave them a Trezorite and an Eclipse model.
That's awesome.
Of their choice to kind of as a wedding present.
Gift, yeah.
I have no idea what that hell is. So the bottom is some camper right somewhere. God bless him. I hope they're doing well and still married. But it was a tiny little operation. It was a half-size booth. It was just one grid rack of product. And now you look at the booth at Adepticon and the number of events. It's night and day.
Yeah,
it's night and day.
Yeah.
And we have great things planned. We're going to talk about those, right?
We are. We're going to talk about all the things we have planned. Let's talk first about one of the coolest things that's going to happen there, and that is the release of a new faction.
Yes.
So we're going to name it today. We're not going to talk much about it. It's a
tease.
Coming out. It's a little tease. The Azura.
Okay, the Azura is the name of the new faction.
Is the name of the new faction.
We're not talking about
it. We'll neither confirm nor deny that they're non-human.
We won't confirm or deny that.
We will not confirm.
We're not doing that, right?
Yeah. We will say that that the whole faction, the faction starter set, was sponsored by one of our players.
Brandon. Yeah, Brandon.
Yeah, he sponsored this. It's been a couple of years ago that we started this process, and this is where it's leading.
Now, for those who don't know, people might not know about the sponsorship program,
right?
Which is now suspended.
Yes.
Right? But for a long time, we had a program where you could pay for a model, basically, buy your way into the production schedule, have a huge amount of say over the art, the sculpture, the rules,
right?
Whatever.
Right.
It got too popular. I mean, it's a great idea.
It is.
We get some money to make more models than we had planned,
right?
And the player gets to influence and they get to influence Phelan already to a great degree.
Sure.
But to have your own model, I mean, look at the twins, right? Look at
Keldan and Irvlor.
Keldan and Irvlor, Keldan the Goldless. Don't get me started on that. Kevin's a great guy, and Keldan's a great model, and he's a great leader for my free band. We're just not, getting the merchant talent off enough. But they're there. They're in the world, right? And in a couple of cases, Justin Kirkpatrick sponsored an entire starter box in Michelle,
right?
The original starter box. The great Michigan brownie sale and car wash sponsored the Coronas.
That's right.
Now we did them a lot earlier than we had originally planned because of that.
Yeah. And
now Brandon with the Azura that we will neither confirm or deny are non-human.
That's right.
Right. We thank him greatly for that, and he's had a lot. I think he's had a lot of fun.
He really does seem that he's very excited. I know he had contacted me a couple of days ago and was like, "Hey, I'm going to talk about him in my podcast. When can I do that?" And I said, "Well, we'll give you a heads up about when you can do it."
Right.
Brandon, this is your heads up. We're going to go ahead and this will name them. And
this is so weird because we're not talking about today.
That's right.
Right. We're talking about what people actually hear this a weekish from now, right?
That's right.
It's always funny that you're in that sort of mode. We're talking about, well, we're not going to talk about it yet, but of course, when they hear our voice, that announcement will be somewhat simultaneous.
That's right.
So that's cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. So we're going to have this. We're going to have a
release of brand new
faction, which is really cool and very different from other things that we've done, and we're really looking forward to that. And I know Brandon's very excited about that.
Yep.
We're also going to have the biggest tournament of the year.
Yes.
Tell me about the North American Championship Tournament.
So it has risen to 24 players in the past. So we secured 32 seats this year. Right now we have 28 of the 32 tickets are sold.
That's pretty impressive. We're only 2 weeks past the opening of the event, right?
Is it as many as 2 weeks?
Maybe not even. It will be by the time they hear it.
Will be by the time. Yeah. See, you're better at that, right? I'm like, that's today. Yeah. So
forward thinking.
Yeah, he's all over it. Okay. So yeah, it's 2 weeks ago. So what we'd like to be true is when they hear us, it's no longer true.
I would love
that. Yeah, it's all sold out. And we had of course we peaked at 24 right before COVID, and COVID took a bite out of that.
Yeah.
We had to do the follow-on North American Championship online.
We did.
Right. Then we had to move it to October a couple times. And then last year back in action. Last year, I think it rose to 24 again.
I think we were at 24 last year.
So we're already ahead of that.
We are.
We'd like to fill all 32 seats. And that's a big deal. Bigger, I think, than people understand from a perspective of we're punching above our weight when we go to ask for this number of seats from the con.
I think that's a huge deal. I'd love to talk about that.
Let me just do that because we're not X-Wing or Armada or Bolt Action. We're not the size of those companies.
We're better.
As well, we will let you decide, dear listener. It's not for us to say, but he's right. So we have we're not the size of those, but we're in there securing the same amount of spaces.
Right.
A number of these things. Right. And to be lesser known or lesser broadly played or whatever you want to call it, and to be asking for this kind of resource from the con, it's a big deal. And the fact that they're saying yes is a big deal.
It is.
We're extremely grateful to, all the people we work with, Shelley and Hank and Matt and everybody else, Dustin, at the crew at Adepticon, for taking care of us the way they do.
They have they've allowed us the room to grow.
Yep.
And we've not disappointed in a year. We just keep getting bigger.
We just keep getting bigger. Yep.
Like you said, it's a really big deal that we're putting out 28 rears in a chair.
Yeah.
With the potential to do even more.
Yeah. For the size of, especially for the size that we are, right? It's called the North American Championship because several years ago, our Canadian friends, Canadian players, and this is because of where it is in Schaumburg, Illinois, near a suburb of Chicago. It's easier to get to than some of the other conventions in the state.
Right.
So they were presidents like, hey, can we make this kind of a friendly competition? Well, a little bit of smack talk. And that resulted in two things. The great Irvin and Kevin challenge the American team. Probably hasn't gone the way they wanted to. Jeff and I intend to have it not go.
I'm sure it'll turn around.
Yeah, I'm not. So, but and that's informal. And informally, the top 4 players of each nation in the tournament, their scores compared, and the winning nation, right? And if we have more nations join us, we'll make it a bigger deal.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Could be the World Championship.
Absolutely, it could be.
There's a cup, and the Asaris Cup. Asaris is north-south in Falish, or north and south. This big, glitzy. I don't want to say cheap, but
if the shoe fits,
not resistant to punishment cup, because it's it's lighthearted,
right?
So it's over the top. The thing is over the top. I went on Amazon and found let's give me the goofiest, largest, plasticiest, goldiest the trophy you could get me, and it's shared. So the team that wins it, that player. And we've had to make modifications sometimes because of weather or COVID or whatever. Our Canadian friends can't generate 4 players at the tournament. We'll make it about the top 2.
Right.
We'll talk to them and we'll adjust.
We always adjust. Right.
And currently in the hands of an American, though.
It is
right.
Currently in the
Roger Rexford, right? Yeah.
Who
played a Canadian for it.
He did play a Canadian for it because the Canadians had it the year before.
They did, right? Because we had it up in Michigan.
Michigan,
yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're back to Adepticon, and so that's on the line, and just a really good time. Now, one more thing about the tournament, right?
Right.
It's just straight 250 gold free bands.
Yes.
Right. 4 rounds with a cut to Sunday, because of the number of players, right? But what we'll be doing on Sunday is announcing the 2024 tournament season pack for the first time,
which is really cool.
Which is very cool. It's a themed tournament structure that will be in place for our tournaments from the end of Adepticon this year until next year's Adepticon,
right? Which
really applies to Adepticon, Gen Con, and Mid-Mid, right? The Michigan tournament. The other events Questers run, it's optional. They can do whatever they want, which is always true.
Yes, their events.
Do whatever they want. So in this case, it's scenarios both custom built for the tournament and scenarios from the rulebook that have been modified to fit the theme. We cannot confirm or deny the theme may match the nature of the Azura, which may or may not be non-human.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so then we'll do that every year. So every year at the end of the North American Championship, we will announce next year's deal. And so there's no real frills to this year's tournament. 250 gold, scenarios out of the book, not anything really out of the ordinary. And then a packet you can have all year long. You can take with you to all these different events in terms of their structure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So before we leave the Canadian-American rivalry, let's talk about that informal game between the American team and the Canadian team that takes place every year. When is that? What is it? And can people view it? Can people come and?
Yeah, sure. So it's just a friendly thing. The Kevin and Irvin Armitage, some years ago, I don't even remember how many years ago, challenged Aaron Newell and I to a game, and we played it. And they had it had it set to be videoed. They had a video camera on the game. They were going to show it after Basement Collective, whatever. And somehow, simultaneously, things started to go badly for them in that game, and the video cut out. No, probably not to draw any connection. It's no causation, it's correlation. So, but it's been fun. And unfortunately, this year, Aaron can't make it, but we still want to play the game. So, my teammate is Jeff Wang, and we're going to have a great time.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I really like the plan that Jeff and I have for what we're going to play, and a lot of it is that. A lot of it's it's like what was that? Battle of the Sexes.
Oh yeah,
remember? It was just hype. The actual match didn't matter. It was all the goofy stuff he did before.
Right.
He'd have a drink, talk about it. what are you going to play and all sort of stuff. And then just a fun game.
Yeah.
The game result doesn't matter.
And that happens at Adepticon.
Thursday night.
Okay, and people can come by and watch?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And we root for their favorite?
Sure, absolutely. And smack talk just like the rest of y'all.
That's what, yes. There's a great deal of smack being.
There is.
Yeah.
There is. All right. So in addition to the tournament, which is kind of the culmination of the weekend as far as is our main event, we'll also have demos going all weekend.
Yes.
Right.
More seats than we've ever put out there. Right?
Far more, and filling up fast.
Yeah, so true. Yeah.
We want to encourage our listeners, if you haven't played Free Blades, or maybe you've only had one demo game and are looking to get a little more information about the game, learn the game a little bit more, sign up for one of those demos. We will be doing them.
And your friends.
And your friends. Please bring your friends.
Yeah.
In fact, it's I've got to say this, having run demos at cons for almost 6 years now, they are so much more fun when you bring your buddies in and you guys talk crap through the whole demo, and it becomes more than just a learning game. It's a team building exercise. It's it's fun. And so yes, bring your friends. Sign up for one of these demos. We're running them 3 times a day on Thursday and Friday. Obviously Saturday we're having the tournament, so there won't be any there, but then there will be another one on Sunday morning. And I think all of them have at least a couple of tickets left. Some of them are almost full. There will be 4 different tables running demos all of those times that I just mentioned.
Right.
So get yourself a demo.
And sign up even if it's sold out.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's talk about
all
that.
the events. Yeah.
Because there is a wait list that they provide. And so how does that work?
Well, you get on the wait list, and first come, first serve, right? If somebody drops out, somebody changes their mind, somebody redoes their registration, you move up the list.
Right.
And you're the first people to get the spot if they don't show at the con.
Yeah.
And that's true of both Adepticon and Gen Con.
Right.
So it's absolutely worth it to sign up.
It is. It is. And now I'm just gonna throw this out here. We usually will find space for somebody that wants to.
We will make it work.
Yes. Because
we don't turn people away. We'll find something creative to do.
We want you to have a demo. We want you to experience the game, because that's the gateway.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. So demos all weekend except for Saturday. A bunch of them. We will be having also a pickup demo at all times, where if you come in and you only have a few minutes, you can't.
Not at the booth, out in our game space.
Out in our game space. We're going to have a pickup. And then, of course, at the booth, we have Julie.
World famous Julie Price.
Doing the 15-minute demo, which it is voodoo. There's no doubt about it. It's a science.
Here's another interesting historical fact. We were rebuilding the company together. We've told that story before, the two of us, after the challenges we had. And then, and one of the very early places was LVO, right? 2 of us went out there. It didn't stick, but it's nobody's fault or anything.
Right.
But while she was there, the people we were working with, she gave a demo and at the booth, and I was giving them out on the floor. And the very, very nice person working with us at the game store that we were working with said, "Yeah, I think you could be doing this better, doing it differently." And he's the one who taught her, "Hey, you don't want to give the whole game. It's too long. You're losing people's interest. You can see." And she knew it.
Right.
She can tell the person standing there starting to look away, starting to look at their phone.
Right.
And so the script, the method she uses today was born out of those conversations. We're very grateful to them for the advice that she gave her. So yeah, she's cranking them out at the booth. She's really, really good at it, and has like an unbelievable amount of endurance. She will roll right into one. I can't do it. I can't do what she does. And I love the game, and I love the people that play it. It's not about that. Right. It's just it's a thing. Be going as soon as there'll be like people waiting while she's finishing one up, and she's like resetting the models on the demo table, and they're walking over to her, and she's starting right.
And she just goes right in.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll have those demos going too. So maybe you don't have the 2 hours to play a full game. You can absolutely stop by and get a 15-minute demo from Julie, or you can get one of the pickup games at the play.
Don't be intimidated by 2 hours. We'll never make somebody sit there for a full game any longer than they want to.
Absolutely.
When you're done asking questions, you're done.
Right.
We'll never say, hey, we really,
Right.
It could be as long as
it could be.
And we've had it because people got interested.
Absolutely.
When I met Kyle, right?
Yeah.
We sat there and talked the game for all kinds of time.
Right.
And now he's a quester, right? So we'll do it as long or as short as
as you want. All right, so we have the demos going. We also have encounters games going.
We do.
So tell us just a little bit about encounters real quick.
The game encounters, because you're going to talk about Dreaming Grove.
I'll talk about the encounters.
Encounters, the simple version is Encounters is the cooperative version of Freeblades. Instead of being a band of models fighting or competing against another band of models, you are a member of a free band with your fellow players, and the game master is acting as the threat.
Right.
Okay. Descent, Imperial Assault, any one of these other cooperative games, Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, those types.
Right.
You are in that same setting in the world of Phalon, and generally speaking, you're bringing in hero to follower. There's different formats.
Sure.
And that set of rules is a very simple modification of Freeblades rules available free online in this rule supplement section of the downloads on our website.
Right.
Take it away, Matt.
So we found that encounters are really, really popular at cons.
Right.
We fill them up all the time. People have a great time. They bring a crowd of people in. They get to play together rather than against each other.
Always good.
Which people love. And there's a different storyline each year. We have an official DGS encounters game that we run throughout the year at cons. This year it's called the Dreaming Grove. And the Dreaming Grove, I won't give too much away because I want you to come and play it. But you have been given a warrant to head into this small village where people have lost all contact with them there. And you're supposed to figure out why. And we'll just let you guess from there. The Dreaming Grove. So
there's villagers here.
We're going to run that twice a day on Thursday and Friday.
Right. Yep.
But there'll also be a second table of encounters going on at that same time in that same slot. And they're going to switch back and forth depending on the time slot with two of our local players who are putting on encounters. One of them, Chris Smith, is putting on the assault on Kiss and Chazardad, which is an old ruined fort that you'll be assaulting as a Trazerite.
Okay, so this isn't in the... Talk to us about that.
It's not. So what we did is we needed space. We needed space.
Okay, yeah. I'm not 100% sure we should be talking about that. We've been creative with our table requests.
We have.
Moving on.
We knew
that
we would have these tables. And so you're going to get to choose when you come in which table you want to go to.
Okay.
Right.
It's the same slot as the Dreaming
It's the same slot. It's the same slot. And the second one is put on by our good friend, Jacob Messenger, who is going to be playing the ruins of Shadow Crag. And Shadow Crag is one of the ruined Khazaric cities.
Right.
So there'll be those games going on concurrently during that time slot.
Two options. Players have options.
And you'll get to jump into those. All right. So we also have some of our good friends coming in from out of town that are putting on these games too that you can sign up for. So during the tournament, if you're not a tournament player, and some people aren't,
right?
Casey O'Donovan is one of those people that just doesn't enjoy tournaments as much as they enjoy playing the game. So during the tournament, he is putting on the Hall of the Mountain King Part 2. Right? Last year he put on Part 1. Yeah. And this year he's putting on Part 2. And there's one ticket left for that. As of right now, there is one ticket left for that. It's a great game. Everybody that played it last year came out just raving about it. Casey is a fantastic.
And I remember working the other end of the table from where he was putting games on. Just how much fun you could tell people.
Yeah, people were having a great time down there.
It was really obvious.
He's a very experienced game master.
Yes.
He's a lot of fun.
And just a good dude.
Yeah, and great dude. And he's going to be putting on that game. So if you don't have all day on Saturday to put into the tournament, but you want to get some Freeblades action in, boom, Hall of the Mountain King Part 2 is available for you.
Part 2.
The twins. We were just talking about Kevin.
Have we ever heard them not like that term?
I don't know.
Because we use it to talk about them collectively.
But on tough.
Yeah, I've been sitting here like a spider waiting to drop that. Yeah, so
That's
I
good.
assume our good friends Kevin and Herb
Yes.
are okay with us collectively bagging them up as the twins.
Twins.
Okay.
And
If they don't, they'll tell us.
know.
You let us
Let
know.
us
We'll
know.
stop doing it. Okay.
We love you guys. And last year they put on they built this incredibly gorgeous table.
They really know what they're doing with terrain.
I will venture to say this, and I'm pretty confident in it. It was the best terrain table at the event.
Because there was some competition.
There was some competition, but theirs was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous.
It was just beautiful, and people were just flocking around it because it was.
And we played the challenge game on it.
Played the challenge game on it, and they are going to run the Great Collective Audition on Wednesday night and on Sunday, both. And Wednesday is sold out.
Sold out. Yeah.
But there are 3 tickets as of right now that are still available.
And don't forget about what we said about wait list.
Get on those wait lists. Absolutely.
Keep this. It's always, and having been in this business for way too long, longer than 6 years, you always have at least a 10% drop day of.
Sure.
And so if you've got a an event of this size, 1 or 2 tickets those seats are gonna be empty.
Right.
You can jump in there if you're on the wait list. So please do.
One of the dangers of having a person on a bicycle that runs around the auditorium selling beer is that 1 or 2 people will imbibe just a little too much. And they'll make their king. They'll wander into the wrong hall, the wrong ballroom, Hey, I'm here for Free Blades. This is
That game at Historicon, the Civil War game at midnight where you had to drink whiskey every time you charged.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Nobody was playing the next morning.
That sounds dangerous.
So
the last game that we have going on is put on by our good friend Art Wachowski.
Oh yeah,
is our quester in Chicago, one of our questers in Chicago.
The Chicago area, yeah.
And he is putting on the Barroom Brawl at the Crying King, which he put on last year. Absolutely hilarious. You just never know what's going to happen in that game. It's awesome. Currently, it's sold out. Get on that wait list because it is so worth it.
You've heard us talk about this selling out thing. Most of these tickets were sold in the first 24 hours.
Yes.
So just for those who become fans or want to go to Adepticon or go to these other larger events, it really is a thing to be sitting there. It's like me in a few minutes. I have to be ready to get in line for my tickets for, how you jump on Southwest.
Right.
You get A over B. Yeah, right.
Right.
I could do that in a few minutes. Same thing. It really did matter in some cases because some of these things sold out the first day.
Sure, they did.
But once again, we're not going to turn anybody away. And the wait list it does work.
Yes.
It absolutely works.
It absolutely
And
does.
we get it. We get a copy of it. And I can see it, and so we know who's, waiting in the wings. We can look them up, help them get to the right place at the right time, all that sort of thing, and even the day of,
Absolutely. So that's the Barroom Brawl at the Crying King. And that was such an awesome game last year that we created an NPC in the world of Phelan based off of one of the NPCs in that bar, which is so cool. So moving on to the last thing, because we're
right on time here. Yeah.
The Master Crafter competition is coming back to Adepticon. It's always one of the high points of the entire con. Before we were running it concurrently with the tournament, and we're moving away from that this year.
Right.
We are going to start taking your models that you want to enter from the very start of the con. I'm going to have the light booth set up the whole time. We'll begin taking pictures. We're going to be doing best single free band or best single model, best free band, best terrain board, best display board, and best diorama.
All 5.
All 5. Okay. And then we're going to introduce something a little new this year. If you enter your single model and you want to leave it with me, we're going to have player's choice. And people are going to be able to come through and look at them and drop their votes.
Nice.
So we'll have some player.
So the winner of a Master Crafter coin gets a Master Crafter coin. The winner of Player's Choice gets
the Master Crafter coin.
Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. All right, I like that.
Yeah. So
I knew that.
Yes, because we talked about that previously.
It's a great idea. Yeah.
But we're going to be doing that. We'll be announcing the winners of that on Sunday when we announce the winners of the tournament.
Right.
So we'll do all of that announcing together. If you don't have to be there, If you're not there, I'm going to get all of your information
We're gonna
from you,
enterprise
and
you,
we
yeah,
will
sure.
get you your coin later on. We know that some of you are bringing in models and dropping them, and you got other things going on. Some of you might even be bringing in models for a friend that wants to enter into the competition and show them off. And we are happy to take that.
Participating in other competitions at the same time.
Yeah, and take care of that. So Master Crafter competition is on, and I know the competition is going to be fierce because it just keeps getting bigger every year.
And some
And
good modelers that come to this.
oh my gosh, yeah, you guys are just amazing.
All better than I am. Low bar though. It's a low bar.
That's well, you know.
Far better than I am. So.
All right, so wrapping up, folks. We're really excited about Adepticon. There's so much going on, and we are really excited to see you there. If you have questions about Adepticon or about any of the events, make sure you hit us up on the Discord, right? Get it All Things Phelan and just give us a shout.
Yep.
Or email us or use the contact form on the website.
We'll also be doing a podcast episode from Adepticon.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. So that'll be fantastic. So, folks, thank you as always for tuning in today, listening on whatever station or whatever you do. I know it's radio talk, right? And this is podcast. You were talking about how good I was thinking 2 weeks ahead, but I'm still in last century's technology.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope. Folks, you can always reach us about the Sleeping Grush podcast on the Discord channel, the Sleeping Grush podcast. Drop your questions, drop your comments. Make sure to drop your comments wherever it is that you're listening or on YouTube. And until next time.
I've got one last thing to say, right? Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
Okay, so
here we go.
we put on the Sleeping Grush podcast channel on Discord a competition for both the intro and outro I will give. Intro still is, I'm still John because we don't have a winner yet, but we do have a winner for the outro. Our good friend Tyler Beal from Iowa.
Good man.
Smoked it by appealing to my lore-based nature and posted the words Sil Sakava on the channel as a recommended outro, which is Faelish for Fortune in Battle. I was pleased. I recognized it immediately, which is good because I wrote the damn thing, but whatever. And so I used to say spike and win, but if you could do it and go native, why not? So to close out today's podcast, episode 10.
Episode 10.
Sil Sakava.